Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. I am Caroline Chang, your host. The mission of Awake to Oneness Radio is to inspire the world to awaken to the universal truth of oneness. Science is teaching us that we are all interconnected, that all life is all interconnected, so we are one. And spirituality and ancient wisdom has been teaching this truth for eons. So what you do to another person, you're literally doing to another aspect of yourself. And when mankind awakens to the universal truth of oneness, there will be peace on earth. Today's show topic is Ascension101 with Inelia. I am so bad with names, and my listeners know this. Inelia Benz. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did. Yes, you did.
Very good. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. So glad to have you. And please, I discovered you, like I was telling you before we got started, I was introduced to your work by a dear friend of mine that lives here in the Poconos. And I found you on YouTube. I listened to several of your YouTube shows and your YouTube clips and your interviews with other radio stations. So please share your journey with our listeners today.
Well, thank you for having me, Caroline. It's so nice to be here. Journey, I suppose when one thinks about a journey, that could be, it's such a broad question. I don't normally do well with really big, broad questions because it encompasses everything. You know, one can talk about a journey being the experience of the materialization of the universe, you know, how the universe came into being, or we could talk about what sent us on a path of empowerment. And if we talk about the latter, then I would say that what sent me on a path was the empowerment of others.
Okay.
I have had, as a child, I just thought and knew that the world had to buzz better. You know, children don't have the vocabulary to express concepts of spirituality or philosophy or anything. I just knew that the place wasn't buzzing very well and people were holding on to things way past their due date, you know. I make a distinction, for example, between pain and suffering. Mm-hmm. Pain is what you feel when something is not right for you. And suffering is the holding on to that pain past its usefulness.
Yes, I agree. So, do me a favor. I should have asked you this before. Is there a volume control on your mic? It's just your mic is a little hot. Just a little, just if you can turn down your mic just a hair.
Just a hair.
Yes, just a hair. Yes, that's okay. But you're sounding good.
Know.
Okay, that's okay. You're doing good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that works or not.
No, but you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, maybe you can
adjust it. I'll adjust it.
Yeah,
I'll adjust it in the edit. No worries. No worries. Okay, but you were saying, yes, you were saying about pain and suffering. Please continue.
Yeah, so those were basically the two things that I figured out as a kid. One was that the world didn't buzz right. You had to buzz higher frequency. I didn't know the words like frequency. I just said it has to buzz better. And the other one was that people held on to pain way past the pain's usefulness.
Mm-hmm. Explain that a little more. Explain that.
Yeah, it's like if I was a child. So if I fell down and I hurt myself, right, I would cry for as long as it hurt. Once it stopped hurting, I would stop crying. Right?
Yes.
If I suffered a loss, I would cry for as long as the loss was felt. And then when the loss was processed, I no longer cried.
Right.
And I noticed my family went through terrible things in South America. And I noticed that my mother had some very severe traumatic experiences. And then a year or two later, she was still crying about it.
Okay.
So I couldn't understand, and I kept saying, but that happened 2 years ago. Why are you still crying about it? And then I noticed vibrationally, energetically, that she had a bundle of that experience attached to her energy body and her emotional body and her physical body, which were causing a lot of problems. And I thought, oh, that's what the difference is between pain and suffering. She's suffering. Right? Because she said, because it makes me suffer. She said, it makes me suffer. It made me suffer. I'm still suffering from it. It's like, why? You know?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. It's totally illogical.
Right. And I understand. Yes, I understand exactly. And as a child, because children are so open to already, they're so close to the truth. They're not far from the truth. So they remember things like, yeah, the pain is over with. Why are you suffering? That makes so much sense. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And then I noticed that she was very attached to it. It was defining her. It made her, it's almost like, yeah, she chose that particular experience to define her. Even though there were multiple of positive experiences that she could have chosen, she chose that one to define her. So I learned that too, that a lot of people choose their stories or their suffering to define them, which is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me. I also learned that the importances that individuals give, and that was like 3 at a time. I recently wrote about it. It's going to come out of my newsletter. That when I was little, I was watching some chickens. I was visiting my grandmother in the countryside, and she had chickens, and I was watching them very intently, you know, scratching on the ground, and their focus and their scratching were super, super intense. Right. It was the most important thing on the planet, and nothing else existed except for their friends. And where they were scratching, that was their spot, and that was spots. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, very important. And then I noticed a situation that happened among them, and then some adults were doing exactly the same thing behind them. And I thought, looked at the adults, and I looked at the chickens, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's exactly the same. Within the group of humans that was there, the people that were there, the adults, my family, yes. The importance and the focus of what they were doing and how they were relating to each other was just as important as what was happening with the chickens. And I looked at them and I thought, wow, they're just chicken scratching, you know, there's just chicken scratches.
Yes.
And then I was like moving on, and then I started looking at my own life and thinking, how am I chicken scratching, you know? So it's like, these type of things were basically wisdoms that I perceived or happened to come with that have come in very handy later on, because I never really identified with suffering or any of those things. But I wanted to have, because the period between my birth and 2017 was of kind of bridging, like bringing in a knowledge that we all have. Yes. Every single person has on the planet. They know this. They came in with it, but they forgot. So it's like a remembrance.
Yes.
And the message of empowerment is a remembrance. And when somebody says, some people will say, "Oh, Inelia is an enlightened being, it's an avatar, or it's an ascension master," and all these things. And I say, "Well, so are you. It's just that you haven't remembered, or you haven't acknowledged it." To me, every single person who has bothered to wake up, who has made an effort to wake up, it's like bothered, and then it's an effort, and then it's a working on staying awake.
Yes.
Even though there's many chicken scratches that pull our attention, there's a conscious choice to stay awake and to give out that or live within that higher frequency perspective. And that's what's important, and that is an awakened being. Yes. But in our culture, in our societies, we have been taught not to honor the awakened being. On the contrary, in our cultures and our upbringings, we have shunned, people have been burnt at the stake, stoned, put into, even nowadays, some individuals are put into mental hospitals because they see beyond what is considered normal and real. So, and it's not just about those abilities, because we all have those to certain degrees. We choose to close them or open them. But we all have that knowledge that we are awakened beings. We're masters of our own awakening. And it's walking through life, and the message has changed, because now it's 2017, it has changed. I felt the radical change. The bridge is over. The bridging of bringing people to awakening, or to help them to become empowered, has changed into, the person will say, I am empowered, I am awake, and now what shall we do together? You know, it's like a completely different energy. Right?
Yes. I agree so much of what you're saying. It resonates with me, because it's true what you say, that to awaken is one thing, but it's a constant process to stay awake, because I do that in a moment-to-moment basis. I know I'm awake, and I know what is true, what is real. I'm living my truth, but I have to remind myself of that moment to moment, not to forget, because the illusion can be so enticing, and you can get sucked back into it so easily. So you have to remind yourself, wait a second, I'm awake now. I'm awake in the dream.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. And you have to keep reminding yourself and keep waking yourself. So it's not just a one-time thing. You're not awake and like, oh, I can forget about it now. But it's a wonderful feeling when you do wake up. So that's why I started this podcast, Awake to Oneness, because when I awoke to oneness, and I tried to share it with friends and mostly friends, because my family wouldn't listen to me. So mostly close friends, I tried to share it with. They, like you said, they probably would have, if they could have, put me in a mental hospital. Right. So it's funny to think about it, because you're like, when you awaken, you think, wow, everybody should get this. But
I know, right?
But they don't. So I realized that, okay, it's okay that they don't get it yet. It took me a while. It was like, when I first awakened, I wanted to shake everybody away. Yeah. But then I was like, okay, it's okay. They are where they are. They're on their path. They're still divine, whether they know it or not. I know it. So honor them where they are, and just try to gently nudge them, because that trying to beat them over the head is not
going to work.
Not working. So please tell us more. Tell us more about your work and how you empower others.
Yeah, in 2010, before 2010, throughout my life, even when I was a tiny little child, I would see individuals, people would come into my life that needed or were ready for guidance, and I would guide them. I would concentrate also on individuals who were healers or leaders or artists that reached a lot of people. And they would come into my life, or I would come into their life, and I would work with them to empower them so that their message would be high frequency, but also they would become more effective in reaching the masses, so that it was a social kind of structure. In 2010, I was asked to go public, as in I become the deliverer of the message of empowerment. And I thought about it for quite a bit. It was really somebody else's job, but they had become unable to do it. And it was like, okay, so the backup,
Right.
Can you do it, please? I thought about it, and I didn't actually know what to do. I was very uncomfortable being in front, visible. All my work has always been behind the scenes. Even though I had written a few books and I had a website, my name was tiny. It's like most people would read the book and they didn't know who wrote it, So to me, to become known, and then like all your privacy is gone, your entire life is open, and it's like, also the reaching was for the masses. So it wasn't exactly talking to awakened individuals or people who were empowered already. It was like the mass message.
Right.
And so I thought about it for a while, and I thought, but how does one do that? It's like, just be yourself. Just be yourself.
Exactly.
And then the other bit was, but I'm not really interested. Why don't you get somebody who's actually interested in becoming well known and, you know, famous or whatever? And it's like, well, no, that's part of it, because you're not interested. That actually makes it more real.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah, okay. So I don't know. I can't do it for the rest of my life. I couldn't imagine, like, for the next decades or 40 years or 50 years doing that.
Okay.
So it says, well, can you just do it for a period of time until the other person's ready, or we get somebody else? I said, sure. So we started looking at years, you know, how many years, what year I can stop. And then I started looking at different years. I started with 2020, and then I started 2019, 2018, 2017, 2015, and all the way to 2013, because it was minimum 2 years, and it was 2010, 3 years. Sorry. So
Right.
it was like, yeah, every year, this is a really funny story, because every year when I searched and researched it was very significant. There was like significances attached to it at a spiritual level.
Right.
So I thought, you know, I want a year that has zero significance. That's not written anywhere, that nobody knows about, and there's nothing happening. And 2017 came out great. There was nothing written about it. Nobody was talking about it. Nothing significant, no shifts or anything happening in 2017. I thought, great, I've chosen 2017. So I wrote, I'm going to be doing this work until 2017. And then I'm going to either retire or leave. I don't know what I'm going to do. Or change jobs, right? Okay. And then about a month later, or some weeks later, this lady sends me a link about, I can't remember the author, but he was somebody who I really liked, and I had read a lot of his stuff. And he talked extensively about the Mayan calendar. He had studied it and wrote about it extensively. And she sent me the link, and I looked at the link and I thought, I've read that. There's nothing there about 2017. She said, you know, 2017. It says why you chose it. So she sent me the link. So I thought, no, I read that. I'm 100% sure that 2017 is not mentioned in that article. So I go and open the link. I read it, and sure enough, there it is. Right? Okay. And I go, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So I start doing searches and research again. It's everywhere. 2017, super significant for loads of people. And I'm pretty sure that's one of those timeline, you know, the Mandela effect type things.
Right. Yes.
The timeline that I was in, it was zero. Right.
Okay.
But after I announced it and people started seeing it and talking about it, all of a sudden, oh yeah, I read about that 20 years ago. That 2017 was super significant, and yes. Even books that I read, and people said, "Did you read such and such a book?" And I said, "Yeah, I read it." It says, "Well, check out page blah blah. It talks about 2017." I said, "No, it doesn't." And I look at it, there it is. It's like, oh my gosh. So that was pretty funny. And then 2017 came, and I wondered what I would do. It was an exit point. I didn't take it. And then I realized what I wanted to do is go back to what I used to do. Work with individuals, you know, like small groups, but people who are already empowered and already working and already co-creating. And they take care of the individuals who are waking up or who need healing, or, you know, my message went from, it literally went from, does an area of your life need fixing or improving? Then I have the tools for you here. To, are you empowered? Are you an inspiration? Are you inspired? Do you want to co-create a magnificent earth? Then I'm interested in you. Come and hang out with me. So that's a radically different message. Yes. And that's the new stage that I'm going into. Plus I have way more time now to dedicate to writing books, which I love to do. I love to write novels which carry the message of empowerment in a very gentle way that individuals can integrate without feeling too alienated, because some of the stuff that I see as reality, it's hard to see, because if you see it, it breaks your reality, and so suddenly importances just fly out the door, and individuals have a resistance to that, you know. So I like to do the novels, and I you know, it's like those are good ways to do.
that's your passion. That's what you should be doing. Definitely. Well, that's interesting. That you're sharing your story of your how you were picking out a year, and then first you never saw the year, and then as soon as you picked out the year, it was everywhere. That's exactly like if you buy a car. You buy this car, you never saw this car. Nobody has this car. You buy a car. As soon as you buy it, you see it everywhere.
Well, well, not quite, and it's not quite because those articles I'd read. I read those articles, and they were not mentioned at all.
Right, you didn't see it. Right, no. I get you. I get what you're saying. Different timelines because it's a multiverse.
It was more like that because when I searched 2020, oh my gosh, dozens of stuff about 2020. Right. 2012, I don't even have to mention 2012.
Right. Everybody knows about 2012. Yes.
2019, tons of stuff. 2018, tons of stuff. 2017, zero stuff. 2016, tons of stuff. 2015, oh my gosh, there was so much about 2015. You have no idea. So it's like, it was more like that.
Okay.
So, it was a timeline thing, I think.
That's interesting because I went public 2 years ago. And that's just like I woke up in 2007 and I decided that I wanted to inspire others to wake up because like you said, we're all divine. We are all the same at our core. We're all the essence of what we are is a spark of God. We are love. That's our essence. And that's what we all are. Some of us are awakened to that truth and some of us are not. And some are, in between. And so my mission starting 2 years ago was to inspire with this show. And now this year, 2017, Spirit is telling me now, okay, the show's doing well. Now you need to take it even further. You need to start co-creating live events. And so that's what I'm working on now with others, co-creating, forming an alliance with others that are awake and going to be hosting and sponsoring live events very soon. So that's the Spirit told me this January. This is what you need to go to the next level. So yes, right. I understand. So I haven't done what you did, try to think of a year to kind of stop. I guess I'm just going to go with Spirit, wherever Spirit guides me. So, and I have no idea. I have no idea where that's going to lead. I just know it's going to be good. That I know. Yeah. So wonderful. Yeah.
I love that, where Spirit guides you, because the way I see it, there's many spirits and they all want to guide you, or they want to, so I see them as requests.
Okay.
What is Spirit or what's higher source requesting that you do for the human collective? Mm-hmm. And they will come, the requests come left, right, and center. Anybody who wakes up will get dozens and dozens of requests, and you have to be very diligent and choose very carefully what you say yes to, because it has to support you, it has to be inspiring for you, and it has to be filled with joy and ease.
Yes. Right? Definitely. And I feel that when I really follow what I feel my higher self is guiding me, I trust completely in my higher self, and I don't know where it's going to lead. I just take that first step. Okay, higher self said take that step. I take that step, and where it's going to lead, I don't know. I just know it's going to be good, really because good. I trust in Spirit, and I know that Spirit is going to support me always, in everything. So it's exciting. So what what are your plans for 2017? Getting back to writing and what else?
I'm bringing in more information that's more relevant to those individuals who are already empowered. And I'm also working on a project called the Shaman Shack. And if you go to Inelia.com and then go to project, you'll find the Shaman Shack. It's like a center or location where we can carry out or meet, and it's almost like a marriage between Gaia and humanity, because there is a house on there which we're repairing, and it's a tiny little place, it's a tiny little house. It's only an acre and a half or something, And it's connected to the Olympic forest here in Washington.
Okay.
It's also, we've seen Sasquatch signs in the forest, and there's elk, bears, cougars, all sorts of different wildlife that walk through.
Right.
And the location is just somewhere so beautiful. You just go and reconnect. It's beautiful. It's really...
that sounds so nice.
Yeah.
That sounds beautiful.
It's not somewhere to live, but it's somewhere to connect. So we're setting up a large room, like half the house is one room, and like a meeting place. We'll have a library there with all the books that we feel are really cool, so people can go and read. There's going to be a couple of bedrooms if people want to hang out for longer. They can stay there, and a kitchen. And then there's the land, and then there's connections. There's a lake nearby, and it's just beautiful. Yeah.
That sounds so beautiful. That does. That sounds beautiful. And you're in Washington State. I'm on the other side of the country in Pennsylvania. But one of the things, Spirit, when I started this show 2 years ago, Spirit inspired me to do two things. Mm-hmm. One was to start this podcast, and also to found a foundation, the Kyle Foundation, in my son's memory. Kyle stands for Keep Your Light Expanding. And what you described is similar to what I have the location picked out. Actually, there's just an abandoned building on it I live in the Poconos Mountains, and there's a beautiful spot right kind of in the center of town with an abandoned building. I've been here 26 years. That abandoned building has been there 26 years. Wow. But it's a beautiful spot. And that's where Spirit said, that's where we're going to build the Kyle Foundation Center, which will be a community center, a oneness center where people can come and just have a library to read books, to learn about oneness, but to also more of almost like a performing arts center where people can express themselves through dance, through art, through whatever moves them. This is a place where a gathering place for all in the community, just to share express themselves, to be able to understand, learn about oneness, have seminars, workshops, things of that nature. But that's my vision for the Kyle Center right here in the Poconos. So
sweet.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. So it's beautiful that we have so many. I think there's more going on spiritually on the West Coast. I've only been to the West Coast once. I went to Agape in LA. I was invited by Reverend Michael, which was amazing. But I think I feel like the vibration is higher on the West Coast than the East Coast. I could be wrong, but I think I just feel like Spirit led me here 26 years ago for purpose. And this is where I feel like I'm needed and my purpose is right here in the Pocono Mountains.
Sweet.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes. So that's great. So, and I know that you travel a lot, and are you still doing like lectures and seminars? Oh, you're not doing those anymore?
No, I'm not traveling anymore. I'm not going to do the large lectures anymore. I'm going to do some online things, and I have audio classes that I'm doing as well. It's more like concentrated individuals that get together. I also have a platform, an empowerment platform, with a forum where people can meet and talk and discuss and brainstorm. And that's called Walk With Me Now. That's online. So that's a meeting place of co-creation and expansion, and really to do with, it's been a learning process. I've had that since 2014, and that's when we founded the site and the platform, and it has evolved with individuals. It has gone again from the other energy to a new one. And at the beginning, a lot of the individuals that came in wanted to project authority onto me, right? And it's like, that was continuous, don't project your authority onto me. Don't project your authority onto me. This is a we are all as valuable, and we're talking about individuals who had decades of spiritual practice, and some people who about just began. Right. But everybody has something in common, which is they understand that divinity within. Yes. And the self-guidance. Yeah. So it's not what originally I thought somewhere. We used to get so many questions about the audio classes and the courses that I've done and that I have online at Ascension101. And there was nowhere to answer it really, or go into a really deep discussion about these things. So originally it was that, when I thought, there's so much out there, there's so much interesting stuff out there, why don't we explore those too? So it's not just about my stuff, but if somebody discovers a teacher or a practice or something that really inspired and helped them, we'll look at it together and see what's going on, and explore it, and what each of us gets out of it, and things like that. It's really fascinating. Yes. So that co-creation and that meeting with the empowered individual is happening already. It's beautiful. And I didn't know what was going to happen to it after 2017. And it became very clear, again, from that guidance that you're talking about, that higher self guidance, that is actually perfect as we go forward. That co-creative power, that feeding of ourselves with high frequency information, high frequency energy. Because people talk a lot has gone into even the masses about what you put into your body as food and drink. So talking about the types of food and drink that you put into your body is now normal. Mm-hmm. So you put in things that are healthy, organic, whole, complete, good, that taste good, so that your body's happy.
Right.
But now the conversation that I'm wanting to inspire and to go into the masses also would be, what are you feeding your energy body? What are you feeding your emotional body? What are you feeding your mind?
That's so true.
Every single day. What are you watching on television? That's going into your mind, your emotional body. What are you feeding? Is it toxic? Is it good? Is it positive? Is it nurturing? Does it fill you with love and information? Does it fill you with energy, or does it drain you and make you sick? So that's really important, and part of this platform is that. It's one place where you can go in and feed yourself really high frequency information, connections, friendships, and even visuals.
Yes.
So
that is so true. Spirit told me again. Now, the weird thing with me and Spirit and higher self is I've been listening and following higher self before I knew I was awake to higher self. Back in 2001, right after 9/11, there was nothing on the television but news. Right. And we were all glued to it. And I heard clearly within me, Spirit said, turn off that news and don't ever turn it back on again. And honestly, this is in 2001. So it was before my awakening. So I heard it loud and clear. Turn it off. And it was Spirit was talking about news and turn it off and don't ever turn it back on. And I was like, okay. And I didn't know why, but I did. I have not watched news since 2001. And I didn't understand why until many years later. But exactly what you said about feeding your body, feeding your mind, your emotional body. What are you feeding it? What are you watching on television? Exactly. Right. And then I got rid of commercial television in 2011. So yes.
And then the next stage is, what are you feeding others?
Yes.
In frequency, with words, with your thoughts. What are you feeding others? What are you broadcasting to the world, to your environment? What are you doing?
Yes.
So it's like it goes hand in hand, and then you go more diligent. You go, okay.
Yes. kind of like what you said with your mom. She was kind of married to her story, her suffering, her pain. I think about that too. I love how Byron Katie asked the question, who would you be without your story? You know, because so many times you meet people and they're just repeating that same story, that same story. So let's let go of it. Okay, let's let go of your story, because everyone has a story. Okay, who are we without our story? We don't have to attach to that story. We don't have to. Yeah, just keep. Yes. Who am I going to be without my story? Yeah, let it go. Let that story go and discover who you really are. Yes. This is so true. And then, so what? Yeah, what are you saying to others? How are you uplifting others with your words, you know?
Well, not necessarily uplifting. I mean, that would be a little bit like a savior energy, which savior energy is not a good thing. What I would say is express your full self. You are pure light incarnated. Be that light. Just be yourself. No apologies, no holding back, not hiding yourself. Shine forth. And a lot of individuals will feel, whoa, then people will reject me or they'll attack me. Process that fear and then just be. Just you being yourself without the programs or sufferings or fears and all these type of things. Just you being you is all you need to do for the planet, really. You don't have to go out of your way to uplift others. It's irrelevant, because if somebody... it's not going to do anything. That's like a push. But if you're just expressing yourself, others won't feel the push because you're just being yourself. And also, it gives them a map. It gives them a model. We as human beings learn through modeling, through mapping to others. Mm-hmm. And that gives them the opportunity to see an alternative way of expressing oneself or being or existing or living.
Yes.
That's all you need to do. It really is.
Yes, this is true. You are so absolutely right, because so many are looking for answers outside of themselves. They're looking for a guru. They're looking for a teacher. They're looking for a master, when the guru, the master, the teacher is all within. And the best teacher, guru, or master is going to point you to yourself.
Right.
Yes.
So it's good to look for information outside of yourself.
Right.
Mapping to others, but also knowing that is true, because anybody who tries to make themselves invaluable in your life, that you can't live without them or that organization, run away from them immediately. Right?
Exactly.
Anybody who says that you have to go through them to reach God or a divine self or whatever, run away, because leeches, man, those are leeches. You don't want to go near them.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So I always suggest to people, if you find a teacher or guide that you really love, find another 4. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And look for that information from 4 other sources, and then always self-guide, like you said. Just be that guidance. Allow that guidance to be yourself.
Exactly. Because I always say the outer world can only point us back to ourselves, because the outer world is really just a reflection of ourselves. So to find the answers, it's deep within us. But others can help point us. Books and teachers and lectures and all those things can help point us back to us. So yes, this is beautiful. Yes. And I love. Go ahead.
And see it more like, so you want to learn to draw. You go to a teacher that teaches how to draw, right? And you might try 3 or 4, and one of them will really, like resonate and teach in a way that it's really good for you to learn.
Yes.
And or you want to learn about mathematics and how to count or divide or do all those weird other calculations. So you go to a tutor that teaches mathematics, and then you'll try different ones until you find one that teaches you mathematics really well. And I think that that's the same model that you should choose when learning to walk through life within the new paradigm, or learning how to be empowered and not to allow low frequency vibrations to pull you in. How do you learn those things? It's the same as learning mathematics or how to draw. It's the same thing. There's nothing woo or special. about a math teacher, right?
Right, exactly. So
and
true.
The same thing about learning to walk through the new paradigm or embodying the new paradigm inside of you. It's the same thing. So yeah, that's how I see it.
So true, so true. So can you share with our listeners how you would describe a person that is awake? And for me, the word awake and enlighten, I use them interchangeably. Not everybody does, but I do. But how would you describe that person?
There's different levels of wakefulness, and it really means that when you look around you and you look at what people are doing and society is doing, or the stories that people are playing out, are not everything about reality. It also, when somebody realizes, whoa, we're just co-creating this moment to moment. It's like a dream. If this is a dream that we're co-creating and I'm awake within the dream, that's very, very accurate. I would say, yep, you got it. You're enlightening us. And then what I say, what is ascension is the expansion of awareness. It's nothing like mysterious about ascension. It's how aware you become, how conscious you become. Everybody on the planet is continuously manifesting their reality, and all our reality, our co-creative reality, moment to moment, second to second, co-creating this physical experience. And the difference between an awakened being or an empowered being and somebody who's asleep is that the person who's asleep is co-creating or manifesting their reality and our common reality from programs and from the push of fear or other individuals who are pushing them to create a certain environment. The person who's awake and becomes empowered creates consciously. Right. So they remove all their programs, they remove all their cultural beliefs, what's true, what's not true, what's real, what's not real. They remove the fear from their energy field and emotional body and create and co-create from a place of high frequency, conscious choices. That's the difference, I'd say.
So true, so true, yes. And Awake in the Dream is actually a film. I mean, I love the term and I use it a lot now, but there's a film that I saw on Gaia TV called Awake in the Dream that I, but it's really, if you haven't seen it, you really enjoy it.
I'll check it out.
Yes, but it's so, I resonate with everything you're saying. It's so true. When you're asleep, you're creating from programming, from fear, and what you had talked about before about being yourself, just living your authentic truth. And that's what some people are afraid, because they're like, okay, if I live my authentic truth, someone, I might not be liked, but when you understand that that's what you're here to do, you're here to be who you uniquely are and living your truth. And when you do that, knowing from a place that you are divine, you are a divine aspect of God, you can never be separated from God, you can't ever be hurt. So what is there to fear than to be your truth, to live your truth? And that to me is the true definition of freedom, is when you live, when you live your authentic self with no fear and no fear of judgment, because who is there that you are an aspect of God? Who can judge you? So yes, so very true. And more, I believe people are awakening. I see that more and more each day.
Yep, definitely. And then if you think about it, the people who don't like you because you're yourself and the people who judge you, you don't want those people in your life. Those are the people that are, thank you, bye. Yes. That's a good thing.
Yes,
so they can leave your reality.
Yes, that's true. That's true. They can leave. Yep. Bye. Love you. Bye. Yeah. Not mad at you. No. Yes, this is so true. This is so true. And I think that I love the fact that in doing this show, I get to have conversations like this with people that are awake, because like I said, I feel that part of my purpose and my mission going forward is to align myself with people that are awake. So We
Yeah.
can, it's just can grow, so we can magnify this wakefulness in the world. I believe it's speeding up. Do you? I feel just this year, I feel energy has really speeding up.
Oh, absolutely. For example, if you were to say just 20 years ago to somebody, that's karma, or that's manifestation, or if you said to somebody 20 years ago something about manifestation, or even 30 years ago, or even 10 years ago, not so much 10 years ago, but if you said that's manifestation, it says manifesting, well, is there something going on? People outside with placards, what are they manifesting about?
They wouldn't, exactly. And the internet made things so we're global. We're a global community. I have guests from all over the world. All I have to do is send them a Zoom link. This is great. Yes. Yeah,
and if you Google Ascension, if you Google natural healer, if you Google shamanic knowledge, anything like that, thousands, if not millions, of websites will come out with teachers and people who are connected. That's the first in our history, right? Recorded history. Recorded history.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So what's been projected by the mass media and what's really happening is totally different. Totally different. And it's one of those things about what you're feeding yourself as well. So. Yes.
And the wonderful thing is, I actually got my education on YouTube. It's just as I was awoken to truth of oneness, I just started Googling and YouTubing, and daily. I still do. A great thing, I work from home, so when I'm not writing or doing something where I have to really focus, I can listen to a nice lecture or audio book. I can listen while I work, long as I'm not trying to type or write or do something where I have to really concentrate. So I can do that every day, and I love that. So yes.
That's the first, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yes. Oh, the world has changed so much, I would say, in the last 15, since this 2000, I think the world has changed so much.
Oh, yes.
This is such, yes. So you like to write novels. So have you written a novel before?
I've been writing since I was 14.
Okay.
I'm in my 50s now, so I've written a lot.
You said you're in your 50s. You look like you're 25.
Oh, thank you very much. The books that I have out right now, there's empowerment books and novels. You can find them at Ascension101.com, and you find books, and you click on books, and you can find all my books.
Okay.
They're on paperback and also ebooks. And that's a really good format that I love. I love to do audio classes as well. I have lots of audio classes to download, MP3s. They get transcribed as well, so if you don't like listening to stuff or you can't hear, they're also written down.
Awesome.
And what else? I paint and I take photographs as well, and I haven't actually put much of that stuff out yet, but that's another thing I want to get back into, doing the photographs and doing the paintings, and because the ones that I like take you somewhere else. It's like you take a photograph of a landscape and the colors and everything and the way that I see things, it's almost like this is how I see Gaia, or this cat or this dog or this person, couple or this house, and it's just multidimensional. I love to do that. So these are different ways of expressing that higher frequency, right? So other people can map to it or even have it. Like you said, you listen to things while you're doing things. I do that too. It's like feeding yourself that high frequency all the time by hearing it, by looking at it, by eating it, by listening. It's just tapping into that higher self.
Exactly.
And so the books, the audio classes, I have courses there too. I think the last event we did in Spain, that was recorded, that's there as well for download. There is a virtual retreat that a person can download and do by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting.
Yes.
Because it's like a guidance for a few days that you do at home. It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And so there's lots of activities and things. It's almost like that expression, allowing ourselves to express as that awakened higher frequency self.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you do, it's always going to come out. People are afraid sometimes. I saw this pattern before this year. I saw a pattern where you said to somebody, or you allow somebody to express fully, and it would become horrible, like the nastiest individual side of themselves. And I was like, well, that's not you. Why are you doing that? Because this is my traumas, and these are my stories, and this is how I am. Right. I'm selfish and I'm violent. And it's like, no, you're not. Those are just stuff. These are programs. Your true self is nothing like that.
Exactly.
And when I say to people, it's time for you to express who you are, the true light that you are, some individuals will say, oh, thank goodness. Oh, yes, I've been waiting for this for years. Thank goodness we can finally do it.
Right.
Yes, I want to hang out with you. And then another person would say, oh, I don't know about that because I'm still working through my shadow self and I have to integrate my darkness. I don't want to know you.
But you know what? It's also, it's also, I always say, it's also good to understand that shadow side just wants to be loved, because the essence of us is love.
I think that we have to disagree on this one.
Oh,
because
okay.
The shadow self, the only aim for the shadow self is to be shadowed, right?
Okay.
And it doesn't want to be loved. It wants to be shadow. So allow it to be shadow, but not in your body, not in your life. Allow it to go where the experience of shadow exists, pure and simple. It's a different paradigm, right?
Okay.
And allow that, release it, and say, you're not welcome in my life anymore.
Right.
The teaching that, for example, the teaching that pain will make you a better person. Sometimes it's not true. It's not real. You can mean a good person. And all that thing that happened was to disable you, to dampen your light. That's what it came. That's what it tries to do. Darkness was to darken the whole world. That's what it's there for. And it has no real use. It doesn't teach you anything. For thousands of years, the human collective chose a light-dark paradigm to experience darkness, to learn about darkness, and to learn to be darkness. And that's what it teaches. It's about darkness and being darkness. That's what it teaches.
Right.
Now the human collective has chosen to go back to a more natural experience of empowerment and light. The human collective's base frequencies is very high, and it doesn't have darkness in it. And that's the one that we've chosen now. That's a choice. That's why we're doing all this work, and that so many people are waking up.
Right.
There's proof. If you have a child, or for example, one of the highest suicide rates is among the veterans. Why? Because humans are not a natural being that kills, destroys, and hates.
Right.
So you put that person in that environment, it destroys them. Why? Because it's not natural for us.
Exactly.
Right? It doesn't do anything. It just kills them. It withers them. If you have a beautiful plant and you bang it around and chop its leaves off and don't water it, it'll die.
Yes.
If you get a new puppy or a new kitten and you think, okay, so I have to give it a lot of pain so it's a good kitten or puppy, not. Right?
Right.
When you look at a baby, you hold that baby, you kiss it and cuddle it and you nurture it and you give it love. All love, it will flourish.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you start slapping it around, refusing to feed it, don't give it any kind of security, or don't hug it even.
Right.
They die.
Yes.
Babies die when you don't hug them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Babies will die if you don't hug them. Yes.
Yeah.
This is true. Yes. Yes.
So know that divine self, that divine being, that awakened being that is inside of you does not need any darkness.
Right.
It doesn't.
Exactly. Because
you will not learn from it. You don't have to integrate it or anything. It's just no longer necessary for the experience we're choosing from now on.
Yes. Because the essence of who we are is that light, that love. That's
Right.
the essence. So express that. Yes. So
Yeah.
so true. Yes, we agree. Yeah. So I think not that we disagree. I think sometimes we just express it differently. I think. Yeah. Because I just when I think of the shadow side, I think it's just something that if we I think it wants to be acknowledged so it can be released. Because I think love transforms everything. So that's kind of, yes.
That's we disagree on that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I hear a lot about, women or men who are being abused at home or beaten up.
Right.
They have this mindset, if I love her enough, she's going to stop abusing me. If I love him enough, he's going to get better and stop hitting me. It never happens.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Definitely. Yes.
And that's what we're talking about here.
Right.
You can love darkness all you want. It's not going to do anything. But if you say, okay, darkness, you're beautiful, you're very dark, and you're very, very evil, that's a beautiful expression yourself. You're in full integrity being that. It will release because it's been acknowledged. That is true. Mm-hmm. But if you project love and hug and no, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to fight because it's the opposite, You're trying to diminish me. Don't diminish me. Why
right.
Right.
Yes.
That's its source,
But like you said, in an abusive situation, the best way to show that person you love them is leave them.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yes,
that's the expression of darkness. It's not some subjective energy thing. It's literally like that.
Yes.
Literally like that.
Mm-hmm.
Many people who are awake or like being beautiful beings that started coming into the planet since the 1920s, late 1800s, they started coming in. They were attacked, abused, and made to suffer so that light would be diminished. Those individuals, they broke ground for us to come in. Yeah?
Right. Yes.
And now they can know, if they're still alive, they can know, okay, that happened and I released that because now I can express my life fully and nobody's going to touch me. And if somebody tries to, I'm going to give them a bit of my mind. But I'm not going to try and hug them to love me. I'm not going to try and accept them. It's see you later.
Yes. Yes. That's very true. Very true. Self-love is number one. Because all love comes from within. So you have to love yourself enough that if you're in that kind of relationship, that you love yourself enough where you have to leave it, and you leave it with not bitterness, but you still have love for that person and hope they get the help they need. But you have to leave for your own love, because love
And you know why that's extremely compassionate? To say no to somebody and close the door on them is extremely compassionate, because every time a person or a being hurts you or tries to hurt you, they're gathering and accumulating negative karma, you could say, negative energy within themselves.
Yes.
So the sooner you put a stop to that, the most compassionate you are being to that person, because you're not allowing them to gather all that negative stuff that's going to come back on them.
That's so true. That's very true.
So exactly. That's the other side of it.
That is so true. Very true. Well, thank you. This has been so wonderful. Can you please share with our listeners and our viewers again how they can find you and communicate with you? Go ahead.
Yeah, so you can find me at my work is being published at Ascension101.com, 101.com.
Right.
And my platform where you can talk to me is walkwithmenow.com.
Okay, workwithmenow.com.
Walk, like walking.
Walk. Walk. I thought you said work. Okay, walkwithmenow.com. Okay, and then you have another website, right?
Yes, and my projects and all my other stuff is listed at Inelia.com. It's INELIA.com. And you can find my projects and my other stuff there too.
Great. Wonderful. Well, I'm definitely going to be following you. And hopefully, maybe like I said, that Spirit is leading me to do collaborative things. So you and I, we might do something in collaboration. Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
This has been so great, so great. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate you spending this hour with us, and all the best to your books. I love reading novels. I haven't read a novel in a long time, so I think I'm going to start with one of yours.
Perfect.
Yes.
Let me recommend Interview with an Angel. I think you'd like that one.
Okay. All right. Is that your latest book? Because I saw that somewhere recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my latest novel. My latest novel, not my latest book.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interview with an Angel. I'm definitely. I will read that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been so wonderful. So you enjoy the weekend, and
you too.
we'll keep in touch by email. Okay.
Awesome.
All righty.